All right. We are back for the last part of this week, and it is 1.4. Get all my things going on here. All right. 1.4. 1.4 deals with properties, and although I'm going to go over them, it's not something that we're going to go into great detail about. But there's three main properties. There's what we call the commutative property, and it deals with addition and multiplication. There's the associative property, and it deals with addition and multiplication. And then there's the distributive property. All right. So looking at that, I'm just going to be personal here with you guys. I'm having carpal tunnel problems because my hand keeps going numb and it hurts to write. How sad is that? Let me get my hand back to being. Ugh. All right. I want to go to a different color so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, commutative property says that if you add something, it doesn't matter the order. A plus B is the same as B plus A. Think about it. 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. Now, is 2 minus 3 the same as 3 minus 2? No. That's why it's only for addition, not subtraction. And then in the multiplication area, it's saying A times B is the same as B times A. Again, think about it. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. But 2 divided by 3 is not the same as 3 divided by 2. That's why it's only multiplication, not addition. Okay? All right. The associative property is the one that adds the parentheses. So if I had A plus B plus C, and I wanted to add these two first and then the C, I would come out with the same answer if I added the B plus C and then added the A. Okay? If I had 1, 2, and 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is the same as 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay? And this also works on multiplication. So if I had A times B times C, and I wanted to multiply these two first and then times the C, I'd get the same answer as if I did this and then multiplied times the A. Okay? Now, the distributive property says if you have something on the outside, you can distribute through multiplication, because what's the difference between here and here? Multiplication, and multiply A times B plus A times C. So if I had, and I'm going to give you an example for this, if I had 3 times x plus y, I could multiply 3 times x and get 3x. I could multiply 3 times y and get 3y. If I had negative 2 times 5 plus r, I could distribute it. My hand went down again. I could distribute it, and what is negative 2 times 5? Negative 10 plus, what is negative 2 times r? Negative 2r. Now, could I also write it as negative 2 minus 2r? That's the same thing. Okay? They also want you to see, what if I had 3r minus 7r? They want you to see that you could go backwards and put the r on the outside and put the 3 and the 7 on the inside. because then what is 3 minus 7? Negative 4. And what's negative 4 times r? Negative 4r. That is the long way of simplifying, which is what we're going to get into next in 1.4, simplifying like terms. 3r and negative 7r, they're like terms. They both have an r. It's not an r and an r squared. It's not an r and an s. They're like terms. So I can combine those and do it just like I would do it normally with numbers, looking at the numbers, subtract the smaller from the larger, keep the sign of the larger, and the r just goes along with it. Okay? Let's look at some more like that. Let's look at some more like that. What if I had, let's do 12m plus m. Now, this is a 12m. This right here, because it's assumed there's a 1 there, 1m and m are the same thing. 1a and a are the same thing. Okay, we assume there's a 1 there. Well, then that means I have 12 and 1, which is 13m, because these were like terms. Okay? Now, if I had something like 3x plus 4y, I could not add those together. Okay? Excuse me, 1 second. Yes, Ruth? Uh-huh. So he can go into 115. You're welcome. Bye. Okay. We can't add these together. These do not have like terms. So your answer is just 3x plus 4y. It's like apples and oranges. You can't add them together. You don't have 7 apple oranges thingies. You have 3 apples and 4 oranges, and they can't be added together. Okay? So let's look at some things that can. What if I had negative 2m plus 5m plus 3 minus 6m plus 8? Well, this is an m, this is an m, and this is an m. So those can be added together. What's negative 2 and 5? You subtract, keep the sign of the larger, 3. And what's 3 and negative 6? Subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So you have negative 3m. Now these are numbers. 8 and 3 make, they're like terms, 11. So this would be my answer. I've simplified that. Okay? All right, let's try another one. Oh, my hand. Hang on, I'm so sorry. Stop going on. I have to talk to the doctor and find out what exercises I can do. Stop this. This is ridiculous. All right, 3x plus 4 minus 5 times x plus 1 minus 8. There's some things we have to do here. First of all, I have parentheses, and I can't add x and 1. I have to distribute. And what am I distributing? A negative 5. So 3x plus 4, negative 5 times x is negative 5x, and negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, minus 8. Now I can look at like terms. Positive 3x and negative 5x, subtract and keep the sign of the larger. 4, negative 5, and negative 8 are all numbers. 4 and negative 5, subtract and keep the sign of the larger would give me negative 1. And negative 1 and negative 8 add and keep the sign, negative 9. And there we have it. And that's what they're going to ask you to do in this section, is combine, simplify expressions. Let me remind you, there's no equal signs here. So these are not equations and you're not solving them. All you're doing is simplifying, combining like terms, the expression, okay? Now, this is a little tricky one, and I wanted to show this. This is the last one I'm going to show. This is 8 minus all of this. Can you combine 3m and 2? No. So what you have to do is distribute what's on the outside, which is a negative 1. You have to distribute that. So it becomes 8. Negative 1 times 3m is negative 3m. And negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Now, are there any other m's? No. But are there numbers that are like terms? I have 8 and a negative 2, which gives me 6. And that is simplified. That's as far as I can go. Okay? All right. Give it a try. Make sure that you utilize everything in your textbook, the things that are in the My Math Lab that allows you to ask for an example, give me the next step, send me an email. When it says ask your instructor, you can send me an email and tell me I don't get this problem at all. And then I can record one of these sessions, just a quick one, and showing you exactly how, and I'll send it specifically to you. Okay? All right. Let me know if you need me, and have a good week.